Hello all and welcome to the latest Craftmania Sunday Showcase. I'm Jamie and I'm going to be your host today. Now today we have a truly jam-packed video. I've got a bit carried away if I'm being honest, and I've made 17 different projects to share with you. So I'll try and be as quick as I can, because if not we're going to be here forever and a day. But I'm going to chat to you about all 17 projects. We're also going to introduce you to 8 brand new products, and we also have a really jam-packed essentials pack for you this week as well. But I'm just whetting the appetite really. Before we do any of that, we need to draw our raffle winner. Now, if you watched last week's video, you will know that for every die you purchased, we gave you a free raffle ticket, and one lucky winner is about to win £50 worth of Craftmania gift vouchers. Now, these vouchers can be spent either in one of our stores or online, wherever you wish, it's not a problem. And just so you're all aware, if you are shopping with us internationally and you haven't yet received your parcel, because they do take a couple of weeks to get to you, all of your tickets have been put into the bucket, so everybody's included, even if you haven't yet received yours. So let's have a little look and see who's won. We've got 179, and that is Pat Bond. Now, I actually know Pat Bond. Pat Bond's lovely. She comes to our lessons. She's a really sweet lady and a well-deserved winner. So well done, Pat. I hope that comes in handy. £50 is lovely. We'll be in contact to explain how you can spend them and chat more about them with you. Now, let's move on and have a little chat about today's products. Now, as I said, we have 8 brand new items to introduce you to. Now, complete truth, we should have had more. We genuinely should have. But sadly, a few of the items we wanted have been held up a little bit, trying to get them into the country. So we're a little bit shorter than we should be today. We had quite a few dies to share with you, but sadly we only have one. But the good news is the die that we have got is fantastic, and I think you're really going to love that one. And don't panic, because of the other items will follow on shortly on another video. So they're not lost forever, they will catch up with us. With this in mind, some of our other items that we're going to be chatting about today, we haven't quite got all of the quantity that we would have normally liked to have for a Sunday Showcase introduction. So if you are placing your orders later on in Sunday afternoon or possibly into the beginning of the week, don't worry, it is all coming, but we are waiting for it to come in our next delivery, which should arrive Monday or Tuesday. So we may have to delay your order being shipped to you, or if you're collecting it in store, it might not quite be ready at the beginning of the week as it normally is. Now, here at Craftmania, we try and ship your orders out as soon as we possibly can. So if you do normally order for international shipping or UK, we normally send them on the Monday if you've ordered them on the Sunday, and you would normally get a notification email to say that's been done. Just be aware that might be a day or two behind, but everything will be en route to you as soon as we possibly can get it to you. So with that in mind, let's look at today's 8 new products. Now, every product I share with you, I'm going to give you a code. Now, the codes are great if you wish to order via text message, if you wish to call us in store and place your order over the phone, or if you wish to order on any of our social media, such as YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook. If you quote the codes of the items you would like, we know which ones you're on about, and it saves us getting confused, because it's really not difficult to bamboozle us. So codes are very handy. If you're ordering on our website for click and collect or shipping for anywhere in the world, don't worry about using the codes. Everything is pictured individually, so you don't need a code. You can see the items that you would like to order. So let's jump in and have a little look at these goodies, shall we? So we'll start off with our first die. Now, this is D1. This is your butterfly frame. It's actually a really lovely die. I'll move it back up here a bit so you can see its measurements wise, if that's something you would like to know more about. But one of the good bits with this is it actually cuts the middle out, so it will actually be a proper frame. They've also give you these really nice openings for the embossing parts on the petals on the flowers. So not only can you emboss and get that really nice texture and depth to them, you can also, don't forget, turn it over with your die in place and ink through them, and it'll give you some really nice coloured petals to go with it. Also, on top of that, these butterflies are really lovely if you do want to cut them out and layer them on top of your frame. So if you do want a more 3D effect to your die cut, that can really work well for you. So die one is your butterfly frame. It should be £10.79, but it is reduced to just £9.17. Now I haven't told you this yet, but don't forget all of your offers are only valid till 5 p.m. on Saturday the 2nd of March 2019. If you're watching this after that date, don't worry, these items should still be in stock, but they will be back up to their recommended retail price. So do try and get a video comes to you every Sunday with a 1 week offer, so get them while they're new. Moving on, we have S2. Now this is one of the first stamps we're going to be sharing with you today. We have a whole host of stamps to share with you. Some of these may look a bit familiar to you because we've had some of these big scene stamps on recent showcases. They've proved incredibly popular, so we've brought in more designs to tease you with. This one is beautiful, but before we move on to talking about the design, the actual clear stamp aspect to it, this is a clear stamp. It means that you can pop it off and it will stick onto any form of rocker block, clear block, stamp press, stamp platform, whatever gadget you use to do your stamping with. You can literally remove that from its plastic, pop it onto that gadget, use a multitude of inks to create different effects and stamp that time and time again to give you some really lovely images. If you haven't tried stamping before or you're a bit nervous about it, do have a chat with us in the comments or in store and we can point you in the right directions for what blocks and bits might be best for you to work with. But stamps are amazing. Stamping is one of my personal favourite hobbies. Your Wise Owl stamp is the one we're looking at, which is S2. It should be £5.49, but it's reduced to just £4.67. Now this stamp in particular, I think, has so many different themes and occasions you're going to be able to use it. For a start off, obviously, it has got a really nice wizardry, magical style of theme to it. So possibly if you've got a family member or a friend who's into Harry Potter, possibly, that could really go in well for them style of cards. I also think it might be quite nice for graduation with a little wise owl on the top there and the book theme. Possibly work well for something that people have studied for. Of course, it's quite nice as well for men's cards, possibly. You might be able to go down that sort of mythological theme with that as well. So lots of reasons that you might fall in love with this stamp. This is one I've stamped actually just onto an ordinary craft envelope, so just a standard craft card envelope. It's nothing special, but it's just to show you that you could jazz up your envelope a little. I find it a bit bamboozling sometimes how we spend loads of time decorating these really elaborate cards and then we pop them into really boring plain envelopes and send them off. Well, why not jazz them up a bit? And this stamp's a really lovely one to do that with. And of course it adds a bit of texture and depth and dimension to your envelope, but without actually adding any of them physical problems that may end up costing you money to post it or might get tatty before you've handed it over to your loved one. So a nice idea for those as well. Moving on to our next one. This one is S3. This is your bench scene stamp. Really beautiful one, this one. Very, very detailed. Again, really good for lots of different occasions. Of course, men's cards could really go in well for this. I also think it might be quite nice for a get well soon, thinking of you, on your retirement maybe, or even possibly with sympathy, might be quite nice. I also think there's something slightly endearing and romantic about this sort of scene. So possibly even anniversary cards might be something you'd like to consider with this one. This stamp should be £5.49, but it's reduced to just £4.67. Again, I've cheated, I've jumped ahead of the game a bit and I've popped one of these onto an envelope just to give you a little idea of how it's going to look. And so you can see all that really nice detail work in there. Of course, you're going to see a lot of these today that I've stamped and coloured, but they actually look really striking if you do just want to leave them in a plain colour. You don't have to always stamp and colour them. A lot of people fear colouring. We'll chat more about that a little later on when I show you something a bit more impressive than these envelopes, but it really doesn't have to be that elaborate if you don't want it to be. Your next stamp is S4. This is your Walker's Lane stamp. It's our biggest stamp we're going to share with you today. It should be £6.49, but it's reduced to just £5.52 on your offer this week, and it's beautiful. This is it actually stamped onto some glossy card. We'll talk more about your glossy card later when we get onto your essentials pack, but this is it just stamped out, and then I've painted it in with some distress inks. Now, as I mentioned briefly a moment ago, a lot of people fear colouring and painting and bits like that, but to be honest, these stamps, or all of these stamps really, they're so detailed and the work has been done for you. All you've got to do is just slap a bit of colour in there. I know that's not a technical term, quite the opposite really, but as somebody who paints a bit like a 2-year-old, I always struggle to sort of try and get a nice image. Well, these sort of maintain your lines for you, and it really isn't that difficult. You can just pop your inks in, or your paints or your pens, and it really should give you quite a nice effect without too much hard work. So that is your Walker's Lane stamp. Should be £6.49, reduced to just £5.52. Next up we have S5. This is your Lake Scene stamp. This one should be £5.49 and it's reduced to £4.67. Now, as the name says, Lake Scene, so obviously we've got a nice little lake going on in here. Bit more difficult for you to see actually on the plastic, but it is really lovely. One of the bits I like is it's got a little boat in here, so that always reminds me of a bit of a fishing theme. So again, if we're talking about men's cards, maybe we could add a bit of gone fishing to this, maybe in our sentiments or our decorations, and really sort of go for that theme. You don't have to. Again, it's a really lovely, just tranquil scene, so you could dress it up for a lot of occasions other than men's cards, but I do think sometimes we struggle for that sort of fishing idea. This one might be quite nice to do that with. Then moving on, we have S6. Now this set of stamps I was a little unsure of, if I'm honest. Weren't too sure what I was going to find to do with these, and I've absolutely fell in love with them. S6 is your trio of trees. It should be £3.79, but it's reduced to just £3.22. Now, although it may look, because they're all on one sheet, as if they are all joined, they're not. They are 3 separate trees. So you can, of course, build these up into different scenes, use them individually. The options really are quite endless with them. But one of my favourite ways that I found to use these was, if you look at this picture, which is the one we was just looking at a moment ago, which is your Walker's Lane, obviously all this top bit here is quite plain and quite open. Now that's nice in its own right, because you might want to add a sentiment or some birds or butterflies, or just have a bit of plainness. Not everything has to be too filled. Or you could use your trio of trees to add in a bit more depth. So on this one, as you can see, I've added in 3 trees this side and a big tree over the side here to really fill in that top part of this picture. So to actually show you both at once, that's sort of the before and after to this one. Now, of course, before you paint it, when you're doing your stamping, what you want to do to begin with is stamp your big Walker's Lane stamp. You can then take your 3 tree stamps, and it's up to you here. There's a couple of different ways to do it. You can mask off the area using a piece of paper or a post-it, and then just stamp on the trees that you want to. Or I tend to cheat a little, if I'm honest. I take my stamp and I only ink the bit I want to actually use, and the image where I want it to be. Now the good bit is here, and possibly a reason why I can get away with being a bit more messy, shall we say, is because of all of the really filled in part here of the corn. If this tree branch doesn't match perfectly, if it overlaps a bit or is a little too short, it doesn't really show. It's going to match in with all that heavy stamp detail for your corn. So you can sort of hide away from it a bit that way. Same with the one over the side here, that's just sort of hid into the grass bit. But there's something you can play about with and develop your own technique. But I really do recommend, if you are going to go for these picture stamps, you may well want them trio of trees stamp. You're going to get to see them added into a couple of the other scenes as well as we go through today. So bear in mind when we get to them and the samples a little later on. Moving on, we have S7. This is your branch stamp. Now this is a really small stamp in comparison to the biggies we've been looking at today. You can see on your size guide roughly how big this one is. But to be honest, sometimes we need them little stamps. And the favourite thing I like to do with this one is use it for my inserts. Again, a bit like the envelopes. We put all this work into the outside of the card, then we pop on an insert and leave it really plain. Well, this could be really nice to add into anything you've been putting the trees onto. It carries the theme onto the inside of the card, but it isn't too bold a stamp that it's going to fill the inside of the card and overpower your sentiments and your writing, but yet it's small enough that it can continue a theme on in there and continue that sort of idea to your card. So S7, your branch stamp, should be £3.29, but it's reduced to just £2.80 on your offer this week. Then moving on to your last stamp today, this is S8 and this one is called Together. I know again it's a bit more awkward for you to see it on the plastic, and it is very detailed, so that sometimes doesn't come across too clear on film, but it's a really lovely set of birds in a few branches that when you see it on a card you're going to really love that one. This one should be £2.99, but it's reduced to just £2.54. Now, of course, you can buy all of those, as we've just chatted about, individually at the reduced prices we've mentioned. But if you wish to, why not save even more money and buy our mega bundle? Now this week it's going to give you all 7 of those stamps and the butterfly die. The recommended retail price for that collection is £43.82, but your offer price is just £34.99. And you do of course save more buying the mega bundle than buying the items individually, so it's a good way to save a few more pennies and get everything in one easy go. Code wise of course it's mega bundle, and again on the website it will be pictured as this picture, so you can just order that item and of course it will include all of them bits. Now this week, I know 2 weeks in a row for our regulars, we're going to bring you an essentials pack again. Last week's proved so popular and sold out so quickly, we made more and more and more, and we still had run out by the time Saturday come round. So again, we urge you as always to get in while you can. This week we cannot make any more of our essentials packs because there's a lovely paper pad in here that is limited in stock and only available in your essentials pack, and when they're gone, they're gone. So please do bear that in mind. If you do like the look of this one, get it while we've got them, because I have a feeling they'll sell out quickly. Now if you're new to our videos and you've got no idea what I'm rambling on about with an essentials pack, what these basically are is, in a moment I'm going to show you loads of cards I've made, and I've put together a pack of all of the bits I've been working with to create them cards. So it's not quite everything, but it gives you a good basis of card stock, papers, ribbons, gems, all the bits you might want to look at on my cards and think, well actually I'd really like to try that again on my own style. This is a good basis for you to get a pack like this and work with them. The bonus to this is when we bring these packs together, we actually take a third off of the recommended retail price as well. So not only do you get loads of lovely goodies, you also save quite a few pennies too. So this week's bundle, or essentials pack I should say, has a recommended retail price of £19.47, but it's yours for just £13. Now £13 this week is going to buy you an awful lot of stuff actually. Let's have a quick run through it and see what you're going to be getting. So at the back here we have got 10 sheets of A4 cream card. Now this is a relatively thin card, so you probably wouldn't want it for boxes and card blanks, but it's perfect for die cutting, embossing, stamping, colouring, inking, you name it, you can do it on it. Really good card for that. We also have a brand new card, fresh out the boxes today. This is a recycled card stock, a bit thicker than the cream one we was just looking at. Possibly still not thick enough that you'd want to make boxes and cards out of it, but again really good for stamping and layering and of course inking, die cutting, embossing. All of that lot can still be done on this one too. One of the bits I quite like about it is it isn't quite white and it isn't quite cream, but it's certainly more in the world of white. So if you did want to use it for white work cards, sometimes I struggle to find enough variations of white to get a contrast. This would be a really good one for that because it's white enough for them but slightly darker to give you a bit of a difference to the whites you may already have. You're also going to get 2 sheets of our dark brown A4 card. Now this of course is going to go really well in with all them trees, given all the tree trunks and bits. Brown's a lovely colour to work with, especially when we're looking at nature. We're also going to give you 2 of our light brown, same sort of reasons for this, but again A4 sheets, light brown. We're also going a bit more wacky. We're going to give you a sheet of lilac pearl card, but as you can see it matches really well with the graphic 45 paper that we're going to be giving you in your essentials pack. This one again is double-sided, being a 12x12 from graphic 45, they're always top quality and you always get a nice double-sided effect with them ones, so you're going to get that in your pack. And then we have a few single-sided papers for you. So we've got this really nice grey flourish. You've also got a nice postcard style paper, which I actually think goes in quite well with the whole Harry Potter idea with the owl stamp maybe. You might sort of be following me down that line. But a lovely paper, again quite good for men's cards, bit of travel too. We've also got a nice polka dot brown paper, again quite nice because it's muted for men's cards, and again quite a lot of ways we can use that one too. We then also have these. Now these are new as well, and first time we've had these in stock. These are vintage glossy pieces of card, pre-cut, all matching. You're getting 20 in a packet, and these are perfect for when you want to use them with your scene stamps. If you have a little look at this scene I've done, that is one of those actually out of the packet, ready for your scene stamps, so they're really fun to work with. You can also use both sides of them as well, so it's a slightly rougher side on the other one, and when you do come to ink them, if you wish to ink them, so like my one, I've painted this using distress inks because it's glossy card. It's sort of It doesn't absorb straight away, it sort of bubbles on the top of the card slightly, not bubbles, but sort of sits there. And I actually quite like the way that when it dried, it gave you more of a textured effect than sometimes just flat card does, because it absorbs it all in and it's gone. So you might want to play about with that, you might quite like that effect. You'll have to let me know what you think of it. But I did find there was a bit of a difference with this card to normal cards, so let me know. You're also going to get 2 sheets of 12 by 12 black card, again new today, so first time you will have been seeing that in store, but it's going to be in your essentials pack, 2 sheets. I've done lots of black card today in my cards, so certainly a good way to help you out with that. You're also going to get a sheet of our pearl lines. Now these literally peel off and do stick on as a line. They're great for going round apertures as well, so you don't have to just use them in a line. They do sort of curve and go with you. These are your silver ones. We're also giving you a metre of a cream sheer ribbon. Again, you're going to get to see lots of bows I've done today with that one. And then paper-wise, we're also going to give you some A4 paper. Now these are quite lovely because they're like a glossy paper, so they've got a bit of a sheen to them. You're actually going to get 2 sheets of this one, because it took me 2 to make the card I'm going to show you. So I'll give you 2 of this one for that reason. Really pretty card actually, or paper I should say, but really pretty. You're also going to get 1 of this one, so your nice sort of cream yellowy damask background, again goes in really nice with these scenes. We've then got a sheet of our tartan style paper for you and a sheet of our wood grain paper. Now if that wasn't enough, there's also more. I know this is chocker, isn't it? We're also going to give you a designer pack of papers from a very good brand indeed actually. You're getting 24 sheets in here, you get 8 designs and you're going to get 3 sheets of each. So let's have a little look through these, shall we? So these ones of course would be really nice going in for that men's theme, because they're a bit more dark, a bit more vintage, so certainly them scenes would fit well on them. These are quite lovely again, thinking of the men's card aspect of this theme today, so really lovely, 3 of them. Then we get a bit brighter. So we've got 3 of our floral papers. Now these I think are really clever because it looks like you've ink stamped, coloured, and then even gone in with a stencil or some texture and give it some real depth to this. Well, you haven't, have you? You've just picked out 1 piece of paper. Isn't that sometimes really lovely, that you can get the look of creating loads and loads of hard work where we haven't really done that? So this is quite a nice paper, I feel, and there's several of these in this pad. So again, we've got that same sort of effect going on these. Lots of depth, lots of texture, style, printing. I just think they're lovely actually. And then we've got another 3 of these. These are really delicate and pretty. And then we've got 3 of these ones. This one's actually got quite a nice butterfly on it as well. You can possibly pick up on the details on that one as well. And then we've got these 3 too. Really love this little pad. And then we have, again, some of these nice pink ones. So as I said earlier, this one isn't available separately. We do like to try and give you as many of these items separate as well as in the essential packs as we can. But sadly, the stocks are just too limited on this one. So it is only available in your essentials pack. But what a lovely reason to get your essentials pack, because there's just so much in it this week, isn't there? So in total, don't forget, your recommended retail price of that collection is £19.47, and it's yours for just £13. So as always, when we have all of these goodies and we try to keep it as easy as we can for you, why not buy our super mega bundle? I know it's a bit of a mouthful that as well, isn't it? Super mega bundle. This will give you all of the essentials pack and the stamps and the dies we've been looking at in one item. So literally everything you're going to look at today, all in one go, all 7 stamps, the butterfly die and the essentials pack. Recommended retail price £63.29. Your offer price for this collection is just £47.99. Your code is Super Mega Bundle, and of course it means you're going to qualify for free P&P within the UK as well. So if you are watching this in the UK and you can't get to one of our stores to collect it, why not order it and have it delivered free of charge? So £47.99 for all of that lot to arrive at your doorstep. What more could we want, hey? So, okay, now you've seen all the goodies, let's show you what you could create with them. But before we do so, for the first time this year, we're giving you the opportunity to win one of my cards. It's not something we often get the chance to do, but it is something we're going to do for you this week. We have a lot of requests about my cards, which I actually find really, really endearing, because I'm never that confident in a lot of what I create, but you lot seem to love them, which is really lovely. And I really genuinely appreciate all your really nice comments that I get through YouTube and Facebook and bits like that, and in store. So thank you for that. It really is lovely to hear that you appreciate what we've made and hopefully give you a few ideas. So with that in mind, you can win one of them this week. Every card I'm going to show you, bar a couple. I'll explain why later. Have a number, and if you wish to, you can enter that number either on your order if you do wish to place an order with us, or if you don't wish to, you don't have to. You can email us, you can send a message directly through our website, you can write your numbers on our Craftmania Facebook page, you can send them to me on Facebook as well. The description to get to me, or the link should I say, is in the description to the video, so you can actually find me and friend request me, and you can send me your numbers that way if you wish to. You can give us a call at one of our stores, you can let us know on Instagram or Twitter or YouTube the number of the card you would like. Doesn't matter how you get your number to us, any way is fine. Carry a pigeon if you wish, just send us your number, and next week we will pick one lucky winner who will win that card. Now, you don't have to buy anything. This isn't a way to get you to buy things. You can just send us your numbers, and you can live anywhere in the world. We will post it to you wherever you are. So please don't hesitate, do join in. And also, it would be lovely for us to see which one is the favourite card of the week, which is a really lovely experiment to do. Because quite often I think, oh, I'm not too sure about this one, I don't like this. And then you lot rant and rave over it, and I think, oh, well, what do I know? So it might be quite interesting to see which ones you like. But anyway, let's show them to you, shall we? So this one is card number 1. This is a bit of a fun one. I've tried to join a couple of my stamps, and this is worth chatting about actually. I've put an acetate overlay over the front of it. I often find that I do pictures, or I have pictures like this, and I think, well, that's really lovely, but it's a bit too boring as a front of a card to just have that and send it. Well, I quite like doing these on the front of it, because by adding a bit of acetate to the front, you've made it look a bit more expensive, you've given it a more tactile feel to it. You've also got the opportunity to add a bow if you want to, and the bow then isn't getting in the way of the picture because it's just a free bow on the front of it which they can open up and get rid of. It also gives you a nice place to add a sentiment. Sometimes when you've got a picture like this, you don't really want to block off parts of it by adding a sentiment, or happy birthday might look a bit too big in conjunction with a bench. Well, by popping it on the outside here, knowing that that card will sit open when it sits on somebody's shelf, it's sort of there but it isn't there, if that makes any sense at all. But I quite like doing these, so that's the reason that I've got my acetate bit over the front of it. But we're going to get rid of that for the moment, because on camera acetate's a nightmare, and I do it every week, so I apologise. But it's just one of the bits I like. So on the inside here, let's chat about your stamp. So obviously in the middle here, we've got the bench scene stamp, which is number 3. And that was where I started. I've stamped that one to begin with. Then I decided I wanted to fill out this edge. So I've just inked half of that stamp, so half of your S3 stamp, and stamped it over that side of my card. So there should be a little bench here to give you an idea, but just using half of it. Then this side, I've used the, oh, I forgot my name now, the lake scene stamp. Now obviously normally this one should have a boat and a lake over this bit, but just by using one side of it, I've covered up the water and tried to make it look like grass by painting it green, and I think I've got away with that. So hopefully it's worked, but it gives you a bit more height as well, because I quite like the bench tree, but it is a bit lower, and I wanted more height over this side to make way for my moon over this side, if that makes sense. The moon is just a piece of card that I've popped in place, and then I've inked over everything in blue, except obviously the bits I was going to paint, so the tree trunks and the leaf parts, and then I've gone back and I've painted them in green. I then found that looked a little flat, so I've decided that I'm going to triple emboss on the top of it. So to triple emboss, I've used a clear ink pad, I've padded all the way over my picture, and I've heat embossed the whole lot in clear. I've then repeated that 3 times, and by doing so, hopefully you're getting to see it gives you a really nice like varnish glossy effect. Something I've really been into this week is sort of, or last few weeks actually, is sort of using clear embossing powder to give you a more crystallised finish and a really nice shine to your work. And I find it sort of gives the inks a bit more life sometimes. Distress inks can be a bit flat and a bit vintage, and this gives it a more glossy finish to it. I also like on the moon, the way it gives you the moon a bit of a texture to it as well, so it looks a little bit more moonesque. But that's that card anyway, so that is number 1. If you would like to win that one, let us know, number 1. On to our next card. So this is number 2 for your cards. This time I've used die 1, so D1, which is the butterfly frame. I've also used lots of the papers out of that really lovely paper pack from your Essentials pack. I've actually cut an aperture in one of them, popped another one underneath it, popped acetate in the window, and then I've used some even on my little circular sentiment bits in the middle here. The actual die, this is where I've layered it. I said to you earlier how easy it is to cut them butterflies out and layer them if you want to. I've cut this out of the cream cardstock that comes in your essentials pack, and then I've just gone over it with some distress inks because I found the cream was a bit too bold on this really lovely distressed style background, so hopefully that's toned them down a little bit. The butterfly frame D1 should be £10.99 and is reduced to just £9.17. And that of course is card number 2. On to number 3. So this one is all about our Walker's Lane stamp. It's S4 and it's only £4.67, I believe. I don't know if that's right actually. I'll clarify that for you shortly. But we have the 3 different layers using nesting dies, and I've stamped the design over the top of it, doing that 3 times, just to give that sort of pyramide style effect to my layered middle part. That one of course is card number 3. Then we have card number 4. So back at it again with the acetate this time. I have actually added a little sentiment on the bottom there. Again, because I wanted more sentiments, but I didn't want to cover up the tree work underneath. So we'll get rid of that bit and we'll have a little look in here. So on this one, we've got lots going on again. We have got our lovely lake scene stamp going down the side here to give us a bit of height. We then have some bits using the bench one. So the bench scene stamp coming in the edges. And then we've got the trio of trees adding more depth into the middle parts there. And then on the very top here we've got S8, the together stamp. Now you're not going to get to see this many times today. It's one of them things I've had so many bits to play about with, I didn't really get much chance to actually show this one to its full potential. But I think it's a beautiful stamp and really lovely if you do want to stamp it onto topper panels like this and just leave you a little bit of room for your sentiment. I actually thought that'd be quite nice as an insert piece as well. So again, talking about inserts and jazzing them up a bit, might be quite nice to do that in a more subtle way possibly. That one of course is card number 4. Then we move on to card number 5. Now this may look very familiar to you if you come to one of our lessons last week at Craftmania in Great Yarmouth, because we did this in a very dark colour scheme using some really lovely bird paper. And I said to a couple of my lessons I'd really like to do it a bit bolder and a bit brighter. Well, this is my version of that. Now if you can't make it to our lessons, I know we have watchers from all over the world. Something we are working on at the moment is online videos. They are purchasable videos, so you'll be able to hopefully come back to them time and time again. They'll be available for our website, and there's something we're working very hard on behind the scenes to try and get ready. We're hoping that they'll be launched by the end of the month, and this is one of the card techniques that we'll actually be sharing with you on one of them videos, so that you'll be able to do this at home anywhere in the world if you wish to. The actual card that I've done this time obviously is using our papers and our lovely lilac cardstock that you're going to get in your essentials pack. And then die wise is of course D1, our butterfly frame die, which of course it's only £9.17. And I've layered these once again to give you a nice bit of depth on both of those. And then on the front one here, I've also got a very cute little owl off the top of that really nice big book stamp. So that of course is S2, your wide owl stamp, but I've just used the top of the owl. So again, always want the whole stamp, but why not just use areas of it for little topper bits like that. So that card is number 5 if you would like to win that one. Then we move on to card number 6. Now this is our lake scene stamp this time. Now on this one I wanted to show you how that area here is really lovely for adding a sentiment if you want to. So I've just tucked my sentiment part over the top. I've used the polka dot paper that you're going to get in your essentials pack, and I've just layered a little insert on the inside and a bit of ribbon as well, and felt that was quite a nice man's card, to be honest, given its colour scheme and its design. So quite a nice one to do again. This time I've also painted these in just using distress inks and a water brush to give me the colours for that one too. But of course, that is my favourite medium to paint with, but there's loads of different mediums you could paint these in with if you wish to. So that was number 6. Then we move on to this one. Now this one isn't one you can win, I'm afraid. I'm very sorry, but this one is coming up in one of our lessons, so I need to keep hold of it. I can't share it, I'm sorry. But this one is a lovely card, hopefully. It's using the same stamp as what we just showed you on this one, so it's your lake scene stamp again, but this time hopefully you're seeing the contrast of using the trio of trees stamps. So again on this one I've added in quite a few trees, trying to give me more depth to the background of my image and more height in what I've done again. So I've added in several of these trees to both sides of the original element again. And then on the inside of this one, I've also used that really lovely little branch stamp, S7. And I've used my second stamp for some of the pieces as well to give a more shadowed branch effect. By that I mean I've inked it up as you would normally, but I've stamped it off onto a piece of just plain copy paper just to get the majority of the ink off of it, and then used my second impression of it dotted around underneath my branches just to give sort of a more faded, misty branch effect possibly. That was my aim anyway. And that's that card. So again, sorry you can't win that one, but it is going to come up in a lesson. So keep an eye on the event section of our Facebook page if you would like to attend that as a lesson. Dates will be announced shortly. But on to another one you can win. This one is number 7. And this one's all about that really lovely Wise Owl stamp, which of course is S2, only £4.67. Of course this time I just kept it plain. I wanted to show you really don't have to paint these stamps if you don't want to. Not everybody likes painting and colouring, so why not just use them in good old-fashioned black and white. I also went for sort of the nod to Harry Potter in my world by putting in the postcard paper on the inside and around my card to sort of nod to that somehow. Again, something you might like to try. The postcard paper, of course, is in your essentials pack. That card is number 7. Then we move on to number 8. Now this is a bit of a big card. This one's about 9 inches in size, by the way, just to give you a bit of an idea of what I've done here. This one's all about the paper. This is one of the papers that comes in the essentials pack. But I wanted to show you that if you are an inky fan, why not keep with that theme that they've set for you and match in with it by jazzing up the bits you're going to be doing. So I've cut these dies, I've done 2 levels out of the recycled paper that's coming in your essentials pack. I've then inked it with distress inks all over, and then I've actually heat embossed them twice. So, twice is fine. Heat embossed them twice in clear to give it a nice glossy effect. A bit like we did on that big panel earlier, but you'll find how many times you want to emboss them. Sometimes you want to keep your embossing going. Sometimes 2 is enough. This one was just 2, but it should give you quite a nice varnished effect. I actually think in areas it looks a bit like porcelain china when you paint that and that sort of effect. I think it can look quite nice. I've also done the same with the border. And I quite like the way that the border looks as if it's wavy, but it isn't. It's just the way I've inked it. Again, I've inked it using lots of distress inks, and I've heat embossed that all the way around too, just so it matches in with that middle element. That, of course, is card number 8. Then we move on to another one that you can't win, I'm afraid. This one, again, will be featuring in one of our lessons shortly. It's, of course, using the Walker's Lane stamp, S4, which is £5.25. I told you I was wrong earlier, so yeah, £5.25 for that one. And I've inked this one again, or painted it in using distress inks to give me that effect. And I've just layered it onto an easel card to give you the idea of how that one's working. I do like easel cards, and I quite like the way it's all black and white, other than that little bit of colour actually in your image as well. It sort of somehow draws your focus and attention, hopefully, more to the painted area than the rest of it, but yet it's still there and part of your card. So again, we are back with our owl stamp, which of course is S2, which is £4.67. This time I've heat embossed it in gold. Just if you do want to use the stamps with different techniques, these are really good for heat embossing. They can give you a really lovely shimmer with them. I've of course painted it in again with my distress inks just to give it a nice subtle effect. And I've layered it on the papers and the cardstock that you're going to be getting in your essentials pack once again. The Wise Owl is still only £4.67, and that is card number 9 if you would like to win that one. Moving on, we have card number 10. So this one's a bit of a darker one. I was going more for the man's idea again with this one, men's themes, but again, nothing necessarily saying it has to be for that purpose. But this time I wanted to show you one of our embossing folders. Now this embossing folder is one of the few that we have in stock which are reduced from £4.49 to only £2. This one is called your Flourish Frame, and its code number is E10 if you wish to order it. We have about 12 designs at the moment, reduced from £4.49 to £2, and they really are lovely embossing folders. They're great quality, and this is just one of them showing you how it would look. What I've done with this one is I've embossed it on some light brown cardstock, I've then braided over the top of it using some black ink to actually just highlight the design. I've cut the hole out of the middle of it, and then I've gone over the top with some bronze gilding wax just to really highlight that flourish and try and make that pop a bit more. I've also done the same on the black bits on the side here that I've also used the same embossing folder to give the matching flourish too. And then I've layered it with some of the papers that you're going to be getting in your essentials pack. For the stamp in the middle, this is S7, your branch stamp, but I felt again that made quite a nice focal point to that window and a nice way to actually use a small stamp but yet make it quite a big feature on a larger card. The card, by the way, is an 8x8 to give you an idea of size, so again it's quite a nice way to do it. That one is number 10 for your raffle if you wish to win that one. Then we move on to number 11, and I'm back with another one of our embossing folders that is reduced to just £2. This time we have the heart frame, and the code for this one is E9 if you would like that one. Again, something that is available in store and online, and at only £2, really good quality embossing folder. As you can see, this time I've also cut the window out of that one, and I have stamped my Together stamp, which is S8, and I've heat embossed that in gold in the background to go underneath my frame. I've also gone over my frame with the same gilding wax as what I had on the last one, that lovely bronze colour. I've done the same on my die cuts to try and tone it in a bit, and I've gone for a congratulations sentiment on this one because I felt it might be quite nice for a golden anniversary or a wedding maybe, along that lines. I quite like the idea of the two little lovebirds together in the love frame, but of course it could be used for a whole host of occasions if you wanted it to be. That is card number 11, once again if you're taking notes of those. Then we move on to card number 12. So this time I've tried to keep it a bit more classic. I'm going a bit more for the men's theme with this one. It's of course featuring our lovely bench scene stamp. It's got the paper again from In Your Essentials pack, and it's just a really clean, crisp and simple card to create. Just adding a little verse on the inside there to finish that one off. That one is number 12 if you would like to win that one. Then on to number 13, this one's all about the trio of trees. I've shown you them quite a few times put into scenes to build up bigger areas. Well, how about just actually using that stamp on its own and creating different bits with that? So this time I've randomly stamped them just in black ink. I actually think looking back it would have been quite nice to heat emboss them in gold instead. So possibly that's something you might want to try if you do get those as well. But just a crisp, clean, simple effect. Again, no fuss for this card. Then on the inside, I've added in that really lovely little branch stamp in the top here. That's what I was talking about earlier. By just continuing the theme of the trees to the inside, but without anything that's too overpowering or going to take up too much space for where you might want to be writing your messages to your loved one or your friend. That one, of course, is card number 13. Then we move on to card number 14. Now this one's quite a big, bold creation. It's using S5, the lake scene. The scene stamp should be £5.49, but it's reduced to just £4.64. And your card number for this one is number 14. You can see this time, again, I've stuck with just stamping in black on white and just layered it backwards with a top of gold. Two 8x8 cards put together, so I don't know how well I'm going to be able to show you this, but we have one 8x8 card running up there, and then the second one runs across the top and down there, so it's overlapping in the middle, giving me the ability to fold the front half of the first one in half to create that effect. And by adding two, I know it's slightly wasteful because you've got that whole sheet coming up the back here, but it really gives that some strength, which is quite handy because it helps hold it all together. And sometimes tent style cards can go and sort of splay out a bit because they're not all balanced in weight. Well, that actually helps give it a bit more core strength, so it should stand a bit better. That one is number 14 for your card winning competition, and of course, as I said, using the lake scene quite heavily on that one. Moving on, we have number 15 for your winning numbers, and this time I've used a couple of stamps. We of course have the beach scene, which is S3, bench scene, I don't know where beach come from, sorry, that's not today at all, is it? Bench scene, S3, which is over this side. But talking of beaches, we have sort of got a bit of a sea theme going on in the background, or a bit of a big lake, and of course we've got the S5 lake scene going over on the side here. And this one I wanted to show you again how we could really bring them two together and make that look as if you're sort of up on a hill maybe looking down on the lake, or on an island sort of before the lake maybe, or on the land before it. And I've actually painted in the sea going behind our bench and just continued it on from over this side here obviously. So that one is number 15. So hopefully by now you've taken notes of your favourite numbers and you're going to be letting me know which one you would like to win. And as I say, on next week's video, we will pick one lucky winner who will hopefully win one of our cards. And as I said earlier, we will post this anywhere in the world. So it doesn't matter where you wish to take part from, you certainly can do it any way you want. Now, talking of postage and bits, so we're going to take a quick run through all the items once more, but before we do that, talking of postage, if you do live within the UK and you wish to have these items sent to you, if you spend over £35, P&P is completely free. If you spend less than £35, P&P is capped at just £2.75. If you are shopping with us internationally, that's no problem at all. We literally send hundreds of parcels every week all over the globe to some places I've never even heard of, to be quite honest with you, which is always quite enlightening, especially as I did geography quite a lot in school, but we won't even go into that today. But certainly anywhere in the world isn't a problem, and that's really easy to do. It doesn't matter what you order, how heavy or cheap or expensive the items are, your postage is capped at just £10. If we can find your postage cheaper than £10, we will actually refund you that difference. If your item costs more than £10, then here at Craftmania we will actually pay that for you. So £10 is the maximum amount you will pay to have anything sent anywhere within the world. You can read more about that on our website. Let's take you now for a quick run through the items, just in case you're not too sure about your codes or the prices, especially with me, because that can be slightly dangerous. So code D1 is your first one. This is the butterfly frame. Should be £10.79p, but is only £9.17p. We then have S2, which is your wise owl. Should be £5.49, but is only £4.67p. We then have S3, which is your bench scene, should be £5.49, but is only £4.67p. We then have S4, your walker's lane, which should be £6.49p, but is £5.52p. We then have S5, which is your lake scene, should be £5.49, but is reduced to £4.67p. And then we have that lovely trio of trees, S6 is your code by the way, should be £3.79, but is reduced to just £3.22. We then have S7, which is your branch stamp, should be £3.29, but is reduced to £2.80. And then we have S8, which is your together stamp, should be £2.99, but is reduced to £2.54p. Your mega bundle, of course, giving you all 7 stamps and the butterfly die, should cost you £43.82, but is reduced to just £34.99. Please don't forget that I am very conscious that your essential packs will sell out very quickly, and do get in for your orders as soon as you can. Your recommended retail price for this collection is £19.47p, but you can have it all for just £13. Your super mega bundle, which will give you all 7 stamps and the butterfly die and the essentials pack, should cost you £63.29p, and that collection you can have for just £47.99, giving you everything in one happy bundle, which I'm sure is going to keep you crafting for absolutely hours upon hours. As you can see by my 17 cards, you're not going to be short of ideas with this collection. They're just going to keep rolling off. Don't forget, please do let us know your numbers if you would like to win one of our cards. It would be really lovely to have you join in with that. So if you do wish to add your numbers on any of our social media, as I said earlier, message us, pop it on your orders, however you can, get that number to us, and I promise we'll put you in next week's draw to win one of those. Thank you so much for watching today. I hope you've enjoyed it. As always, please give us a thumbs up, share our video on whatever platform you're watching it. And if you're watching on YouTube, click subscribe if you haven't already for me, please. We are currently so close to hitting 1,500 subscribers. We could virtually touch it. So please, if you haven't already, please do click subscribe. And as I said, do give us a like. And I will be back next week with a brand new video for you. Thanks a lot. Bye for now.